Have you ever stopped to think about why, even surrounded by people, you sometimes feel completely alone and insecure? Why that inner voice that should encourage you seems more and more like a relentless critic? The uncomfortable truth that nobody likes to admit is this: insecurity isn't always born within us. Often, it's cultivated, nurtured, and fed by people who should be by our side. These are the relationships that drain your energy like an invisible drain, that turn your victories into coincidences and your mistakes into proof of incompetence. And the most treacherous part? You don't even realize it's happening until you're so immersed in the fog of self-doubt that you can barely remember who you were before. This video isn't about pointing fingers or creating drama. It's about giving you clarity, about illuminating those silent patterns that erode your confidence day after day. Because here's the liberating truth: when you identify the source of the toxicity, you regain the power to choose what to do with it. In the next few minutes, we'll explore 13 telltale signs that your insecurity isn't a flaw of yours, but rather a reflection of toxic relationships that urgently need reevaluation. Some of these signs will make you think, wow, I thought this only happened to me, while others will trigger that red warning light you've been ignoring for too long. Special attention to sign number 8. This one is particularly devastating because it attacks the very foundation of any healthy relationship. And once it cracks, everything built upon it begins to crumble in ways you can't even imagine. We're not here to make you anxious or paranoid, but rather to equip you with the knowledge necessary to protect your inner peace and cultivate relationships that truly strengthen you. Because you deserve to be surrounded by people who celebrate your growth, not those who profit from your insecurity. So take a deep breath, prepare yourself for some uncomfortable but liberating truths, and let's uncover together these silent signs that may be sabotaging your confidence without you even realizing it. 1. Constant lack of respect. Do you know that feeling when something is wrong, but you can't quite put your finger on it? It's like when someone makes a joke about you in front of others and everyone laughs, but there's a bitter taste lingering in the air. These subtle manifestations start small. A comment here, a veiled criticism there, but accumulate like drops of water that, over time, fill an entire bucket. Genuine respect doesn't need to be performative or exaggerated. It's simply present in the care with words, in the recognition of your achievements, and in the appreciation of what you bring to the table. When this is lacking, when each of your victories is minimized with but so-and-so did better, or it was luck, insecurity begins to take root. It's important to recognize that constant criticism, even those wrapped in sincerity or concern, are like poison in homeopathic doses. They seem harmless, but they undermine your self-esteem brick by brick. The problem is that our brain, this incredible survival machine, tends to believe what it hears repeatedly. The Stoics knew this centuries ago. Epictetus taught that it's not the events that disturb us, but rather the meaning we attribute to them. When you're surrounded by someone who constantly questions your worth, who turns your achievements into coincidences and your mistakes into evidence of incompetence, your mind begins to accept this narrative as truth. You start to doubt your own abilities, question whether you deserve that promotion, whether you're really good at what you do. Subtle abuse is precisely that, a manipulation so well orchestrated that you don't even realize you're being disrespected. You think the problem is with you, that you're being too sensitive, too exaggerated. But here's a liberating truth. If you constantly need to justify or defend yourself in a relationship, something is deeply wrong, and it's not with you. 2. Emotional or physical abuse. Here we enter darker territory, but one that is extremely important to acknowledge. Abuse doesn't always come with visible marks. In fact, the deepest scars are often the ones no one sees. We're talking about refined emotional manipulation. Those comments that wound like sharp blades disguised as advice or painful truths. It's when someone uses your vulnerabilities as ammunition against you, turning your confidences into weapons to control you. You share a fear and insecurity, and then it comes back as an argument to diminish you. The trust that should be the foundation of any healthy relationship becomes a minefield, where every step can mean an emotional explosion. And the worst part? You start to think you deserve it, that you provoked that reaction, that if things had been different, none of this would have happened. Abuse creates a psychological labyrinth from which it seems impossible to escape because it distorts your own perception of reality. Marcus Aurelius, in his meditations, reminds us that we have the power to keep our minds free from disturbances. But this only works when we recognize who or what is disturbing our peace. When you are trapped in a cycle of abuse, whether emotional or physical, your boundaries are constantly violated until you no longer know where they exist. The abusive person makes you question your sanity, your memories, your feelings. I never said that. You're making things up. You're crazy, that never happened. This kind of systematic denial of your reality is pure gaslighting, and it's one of the cruelest forms of manipulation. Your sense of security crumbles because you can no longer trust your own judgment. If this resonates with you, know this: your perception is probably correct, and recognizing this is the first step to reclaiming your personal power. 3. Going beyond limits. Boundaries are like the invisible fences that protect our inner garden. They define where you end and where the other person begins. When someone systematically ignores these boundaries, they're not just being inconvenient. They're showing that your feelings, needs, and comfort simply don't matter. Perhaps you've made it clear that you don't want to talk about a certain subject because it hurts you, but the person insists, pokes, provokes, as if your discomfort were an invitation to persist. Or you ask for space, a moment of silence, time to breathe, and the response you receive is invasion. Incessant messages, unsolicited calls, unexpected appearances. This disrespect for boundaries goes beyond inconvenience. It's proof that, in that person's hierarchy of priorities, you're way down there, after their wants and needs. Stoic philosophy teaches us about the concept of the dichotomy of control. There are things we can control and things we cannot. You can't control whether someone will respect your boundaries, but you can absolutely control how they respond to that violation. Setting boundaries isn't selfishness. It's self-preservation. It's recognizing that your mental and emotional health has value. When your boundaries are constantly crossed, insecurity sets in because you begin to question whether you have the right to demand respect, whether your needs are valid, whether you're being too demanding. But here's the truth that can set you free. People who genuinely care about you don't treat your boundaries as optional suggestions. They respect them because they respect you. If someone acts as if your boundaries are annoying obstacles to be overcome, that person is showing you exactly how committed they are to your well-being, which is none. 4. Constant manipulation. Manipulation is like an emotional chess game where you didn't even know you were playing until you realized you'd already lost several pieces. It's subtle, calculated, often wrapped in affection or concern. I only say this because I care about you, they say, after making you feel small. You know I'm the only person who truly understands you, they whisper, creating a bubble of emotional dependence. Manipulation operates in the shadows of your consciousness, making you question your own perceptions and feelings. You leave a conversation confused, feeling guilty for things you didn't even do, promising to change behaviors that weren't even problematic. It's like being in a constant fog where you can't see clearly, and that's no accident. It's exactly what the manipulator wants. The Stoics immensely valued mental clarity and self-knowledge. Seneca said that, "There is no favorable wind for him who does not know where he is going." Manipulation robs you of precisely that, your internal compass, your ability to navigate your own decisions with confidence. Gaslighting, emotional guilt, strategic praise that always comes with conditions. All of this creates a web in which you become trapped, dependent on the manipulator's approval and validation. You begin to doubt your own judgment. Am I exaggerating? Is the problem really me? This constant self-doubt corrodes your self-esteem like rust on metal, slowly but inexorably. The manipulative person knows exactly which buttons to push because you, in moments of trust, showed them where they were. Recognizing this pattern is not admitting weakness. It is reclaiming your strength, your ability to see things as they really are, not as they make you believe they are. 5. Lack of support. Imagine climbing a steep mountain and, when you look back expecting to see your safety rope, you discover you've been climbing alone the whole time. That's the brutal feeling of a lack of support in a relationship. We're not talking about demanding that someone solve your problems or carry your burdens. We're talking about that simple but vital presence. Those words of encouragement when you need them most. The recognition that your struggles matter. When you share a difficult moment and receive indifference, minimization, or worse, criticism, something inside you gradually shuts down. You learn that it's not safe to be vulnerable, that your dreams and aspirations are just background noise in that person's life. Loneliness within a relationship is particularly cruel because you are technically accompanied, but emotionally abandoned. Lack of support doesn't have to be dramatic to be devastating. Sometimes it's just the consistent absence in the moments that matter. You get that incredible opportunity and the reaction is a half-hearted cool, as if you just commented on the weather. You face a daunting challenge and there are no words of encouragement, just a silence that weighs like lead. The Stoics understood that we are social beings and that, while we should cultivate inner strength independent of external validation, genuine connections are part of what makes us human. When that connection is one-sided, when you're constantly giving support but rarely receiving it, your emotional energy dwindles. Insecurity flourishes in this vacuum because you begin to question your own worth. Don't I deserve to be supported? Aren't my victories worthy of celebration? The truth is, you deserve to be surrounded by people who genuinely root for you, who celebrate your victories as if they were their own, and who are there not only in the easy times, but especially in the difficult ones. 6. Constant negativity. Have you ever spent time with someone and left the interaction feeling strangely exhausted, as if your vital energy had been sucked away by an emotional vacuum cleaner? That's the hallmark of constant negativity. We're talking about those people who find a gray cloud in every blue sky, who turn every opportunity into a potential disaster, who drain optimism from any environment like water down a drain. At first, you even try to help, offer different perspectives, find the positive side. But you soon realize it's like trying to fill a leaky bucket. Nothing is ever good enough. Every solution has 10 problems. Every achievement is minimized as luck or a temporary exception. And the most dangerous thing? This pessimistic atmosphere begins to contaminate your own worldview, like a virus that spreads silently. Stoic philosophy teaches us about the power of perspective. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. When you are constantly exposed to negativity, your own thoughts begin to be tinged with these dark tones. Cynicism gradually creeps in, blocking the small joys that make life worthwhile. That delicious breakfast, the sun streaming through the window, a pleasant conversation with a stranger. All of this begins to seem insignificant or illusory when you are surrounded by someone who constantly points out what is wrong. Your self-esteem also suffers because, inevitably, some of this negativity turns against you. Your ideas are naive, your plans are unrealistic, your dreams are foolish. Emotional exhaustion stems precisely from this. You expend energy trying to maintain your own spirits while carrying the weight of others' pessimism on your shoulders. And here's something we need to make clear. You are not responsible for fixing anyone's worldview, much less at the cost of your own mental health. 7. Constant emotional exhaustion. Healthy relationships should be like rechargeable batteries. You give energy, you receive energy, and both emerge stronger from the exchange. But what happens when every interaction leaves you emotionally drained, as if you've run a marathon without a finish line? That's when you realize you're giving, but the tank never fills up. Every conversation requires you to mentally prepare yourself, like a soldier going into battle. Every encounter leaves you exhausted, empty, questioning whether it's really worth it. You start avoiding calls, postponing meetings, making excuses, not because you're lazy or malicious, but because your emotional system is begging for a break, for a moment of peace that seems increasingly distant. Emotional exhaustion is insidious because it slowly saps your vitality, like a dripping faucet that seems harmless until you realize it's flooded the house. Your capacity for happiness diminishes, your energy to cope with life's normal challenges dwindles, and you find yourself living in survival mode instead of truly living. The Stoics spoke of preserving our vital energy for things that truly matter. Seneca warned against wasting our lives on worries that don't deserve our time. When a relationship drains more than it contributes, when you constantly feel emotionally deficient, that's a clear sign that something needs to change. Insecurity feeds on this exhaustion because, when you're drained, you don't have the strength to defend your boundaries, to question abusive behaviors, to recognize your own worth. You accept crumbs of affection because you don't have the energy to seek the feast you deserve. And that's exactly the moment to ask yourself, is this relationship helping me grow, or is it preventing me from flourishing? 8. Lack of confidence. Trust is like the foundation of a house, invisible but absolutely essential. When it cracks, everything built upon it begins to crumble. And it doesn't need to be a dramatic earthquake. Sometimes it's just small lies that accumulate, half-truths that leave you with that unsettling feeling that something doesn't add up. I was working late, but you find out that wasn't quite true. I never said that about you, but your words echo clearly in your memory. Each lie, however small, is like a grain of sand in the delicate gears of the relationship. It seems insignificant until the whole mechanism starts to creak. And then you find yourself in a constant state of vigilance, analyzing every word, looking for inconsistencies, living in a state of anxiety that corrodes your inner peace like acid. What a lack of trust truly destroys isn't just the relationship, it's you. It's your ability to believe what you see, what you feel, what you hear. You begin to question your own judgment. Am I being paranoid? Am I making things up? The Stoics teach us that our inner peace depends on living in alignment with truth and virtue. When you're in a relationship where trust has been systematically broken, you lose that peace. You live in a state of hypervigilance, always expecting the next lie, the next betrayal, the next moment you discover things weren't as they seemed. This constant state of distrust not only drains your emotional energy, but also deeply undermines your self-esteem and fuels insecurity. You wonder, why am I not enough to deserve honesty? What's wrong with me? But here's the liberating truth you need to understand. When someone chooses to lie, manipulate, or betray, the problem lies in that person's integrity, not your worth. 9. Egocentric behavior. Have you ever had the feeling of being in a conversation that's more of a disguised monologue? It's when you realize that no matter what you start talking about, the person always finds a way to bring the attention back to themselves. You share an achievement and, within seconds, they're already talking about an even bigger one. You mention a problem and, instead of empathy, you receive a story about how they went through something much worse. It's like being in a play where you're always an extra and the other person is eternally the star of the show. This egocentric behavior not only monopolizes attention, it makes you invisible, erases your needs, minimizes your experiences until you start to believe they're not really important enough to deserve attention. Toxic egocentrism creates a brutal imbalance where your contributions, feelings, and needs are consistently overshadowed. The Stoics deeply valued the concept of justice in human relationships. They recognized that a healthy society, and by extension, any healthy relationship, requires reciprocity and mutual respect. When you're trapped in an egocentric dynamic, you gradually lose your voice, your presence, even your sense of identity. You begin to feel like a captive audience, existing only to applaud, validate, and admire. Insecurity flourishes in this terrain because you internalize the implicit message. You're not interesting enough. Your stories don't matter. Your time and attention exist to serve others, not to be valued. And before you know it, you're apologizing for taking up space, for having needs, for simply existing as a complete human being with your own valid experiences. But you deserve to be in relationships where there is genuine exchange, where your voice is heard with the same respect and interest you offer to others. 10. Personal stagnation. Growth is a fundamental part of the human experience. We are constantly evolving beings, or at least we should be. But what happens when a relationship acts as an anchor instead of a sail, keeping you in the same port while your dreams sail away? We're talking about that kind of dynamic where any attempt to expand your horizons is met with resistance, criticism, or subtle sabotage. You want to take that course, learn that skill, pursue that dream, but there's always a reason why it's not a good idea. Too expensive, too risky, too late, too early. The person doesn't necessarily say, "Don't do it." That would be too obvious. Instead, they plant seeds of doubt, point out obstacles, question your ability, all wrapped up in realistic concern or protection. Personal stagnation in a toxic relationship often comes disguised as comfort or stability. Why change if things are fine as they are? But the Stoics understood that virtue and personal excellence require constant practice and continuous development. Epictetus taught that we should always work on perfecting our character and abilities. When you are in a relationship that demands you diminish yourself, sacrifice your goals, and permanently put your dreams on the back burner, your own identity begins to dissolve. You look in the mirror and no longer recognize who you were, what you wanted, what made you vibrate. Your passions slowly die, like plants without sunlight. And insecurity sets in because you begin to doubt whether you really have the potential for more, whether your dreams were just foolish illusions, whether perhaps you should even settle for less. The uncomfortable truth is that people who truly love you want to see you grow, flourish, reach your full potential. Even if it means you will change, evolve, perhaps even surpass them in some aspect. Those who love you celebrate your growth. Those who fear you try to keep you small. 11. Irreconcilable differences. Sometimes, two people are simply sailing in opposite directions, and no amount of compromise will align those fundamentally different compasses. We're not talking about liking different movies or preferring the beach versus the mountains. Those are superficial differences that spice up life. We're talking about those deep, fundamental divergences in values, beliefs, and life goals that create constant friction. Maybe one wants children and the other definitely doesn't. Maybe their views on religion, life purpose, or ethical principles are at opposite poles. These are the issues that have no middle ground, that cannot be negotiated without someone sacrificing an essential part of who they are. And the most exhausting part? Every conversation about the future becomes a battleground. Every important decision turns into conflict, and you accumulate resentment like dust in a locked room. Irreconcilable differences are particularly challenging because they don't always indicate that someone is wrong. Sometimes they are simply good people with incompatible views trying to force a compatibility that simply doesn't exist. Marcus Aurelius wrote about accepting things as they are, not as we would like them to be. Ignoring these fundamental differences in the hope that love conquers all is not romantic. It's a recipe for chronic frustration and the gradual erosion of both of your authenticities. You can try to convince yourself that it's not that important, that you can change your mind, that maybe with time it will resolve itself. But these fundamental issues have a stubborn habit of resurfacing, each time bigger, each time more urgent. Insecurity creeps in when you start questioning your own values and goals. Am I being too inflexible? Should I just give in? But giving in on issues essential to your identity is not compromise, it's self-sabotage. And recognizing that you simply want different things from life is not failure. It's clarity, and clarity is always better than living in a comfortable but unsustainable illusion. 12. Feelings of discomfort or fear. Our bodies are wiser than we usually admit. That stomach ache when you see someone's name on your phone screen, that tension in your shoulders when you know you're going to see them, that urge to double-check that you locked the door. These aren't random signals to be ignored. They are emotional and even physical safety alarms blaring loudly, trying to tell you that something is deeply wrong. The constant anxiety, that discomfort you can't name but is always present, the genuine fear that makes your heart race. These are messages from your self-preservation system operating in emergency mode. Many people try to rationalize these feelings. I'm exaggerating, being dramatic, paranoid. But when your body is consistently on high alert, it's worth stopping and listening to what it's trying to communicate. Fear in a relationship should never, ever be normalized. The Stoics spoke extensively about distinguishing between rational and irrational fears, but they also recognized that our emotional response to real dangers is part of our protective nature. If you find yourself carefully choosing your words to avoid an explosion, if you choose clothes thinking about avoiding criticism or jealousy, if you devise elaborate strategies to manage the other person's mood, you're not in a relationship, you're in a situation of emotional hostage-taking. This constant state of vigilance and fear destroys your self-esteem because you internalize that you need to constantly change to stay safe. Insecurity takes root deeply when you live in fear because you lose touch with who you really are, living only as the version of yourself that can avoid conflict or violence. If you feel genuine fear of someone, whether of their emotional reactions, their cutting words, or their physical actions, this is not a relationship that needs fixing. It's a relationship that needs ending. Your sense of security and peace is non-negotiable. 13. Lack of commitment. Healthy relationships require two committed pilots to keep the plane in the air, making adjustments when necessary, navigating storms together. But when only one person is at the controls while the other strolls carelessly around the cockpit, the imbalance is unsustainable. This lack of commitment manifests in subtle but devastating ways. problems are consistently swept under the rug instead of being confronted, difficult conversations are avoided like the plague, and efforts to improve the relationship always come from one side. It's when you find yourself doing all the heavy emotional work, reading relationship books, suggesting couples therapy, initiating conversations about the future, while the other person barely lifts their eyes from their phone. This mismatch creates a brutal power imbalance where your needs and the health of the relationship are perpetually relegated to second place. The lack of commitment to solving problems or investing in the relationship is particularly painful because it leaves you in a torturous state of limbo. The Stoics valued conscious and deliberate action. Seneca said that there is no favorable wind for the ship that does not know its destination port. When someone refuses to actively participate in building and maintaining the relationship, you are left sailing alone in circles without a clear direction, without a real partner. You begin to question whether you are asking for too much, whether your expectations are unrealistic, whether you should just accept things as they are. Insecurity flourishes because you internalize the message that it's not worth the effort, that the relationship doesn't deserve investment, that you are not a high enough priority to deserve genuine commitment. But here is the truth that can set you free. A person who truly values you and the relationship will show up, will do the work, will commit to growing together. The persistent reluctance to make an effort is not about your flaws. It's about the other person's priorities and character. And you deserve someone who actively chooses you, not someone who only tolerates your presence when it's convenient. So, here we are at the end of this journey of self-discovery. But in reality, this is just the beginning of something much bigger for you. After exploring these 13 signs, the burning question is, how many of them resonated deeply with your reality? And more importantly, what will you do with this clarity now? Because knowledge without action is like having a treasure map but never leaving home to find it. The Stoics taught us that we don't control what others do, but we have absolute control over our own choices and reactions. You can choose to continue nurturing relationships that drain your energy and erode your self-esteem, or you can choose, with courage and self-love, to establish healthy boundaries or even completely distance yourself from what harms you. This is not an easy decision. In fact, it will probably be one of the hardest you will ever make. But here is the liberating truth. Your inner peace, your confidence, your well-being are non-negotiable. They are not luxuries you seek when you have spare time. They are the very foundation upon which you build a life worth living. Reflect honestly. What kind of person would you be if you weren't constantly carrying the emotional weight of toxic relationships? How many opportunities would you pursue if your energy wasn't being drained by destructive dynamics? What dreams would you achieve if your self-esteem wasn't being systematically undermined? These aren't rhetorical questions. They're invitations for you to begin reimagining your life, to visualize a version of yourself who lives with confidence, security, and surrounded by people who genuinely root for your success. The path to this transformation begins with a single step, recognizing that you deserve better, that your insecurity isn't a permanent sentence, and that healthy relationships exist and are waiting for you on the other side of the courage to let go of what hurts you. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. If this content brought clarity and helped you see patterns that needed illuminating, subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell to continue receiving practical tools for personal growth and emotional development. Share this video with someone who might also need to hear these truths, because transforming your life begins with the conscious decision to no longer accept less than you deserve. And you, my friend, deserve relationships that strengthen you, that celebrate who you are, and that propel you towards the best version of yourself. The final question is, are you ready to take that step?